I was going to a Sixers game, and I kept getting a missed call on Instagram from a random number, and it was somebody that works for Vera Wang, and he said, this is a really big ask, but...
Sami Riccioli, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, we're excited to have you. You were requested by some people on my team and some other people, and because I'm good friends with Anthony, they were like, you got to ask Ant to see if Sam will come on.
And then we have to do a joint one.
Oh, that's definitely going to happen. Absolutely. For sure.
Okay.
For sure, I promise.
This is my first podcast.
Yeah, I'm honored, and I didn't.
Easy on me.
Yeah, no, and I didn't know that. I would have assumed you were on others, and then the more I thought about it the other day, I was like, maybe she hasn't. I feel like I would have seen it, but you've been asked.
Yeah, I just never had the balls to say, let's do it.
Can I ask you then why you're here?
Well, you're Anthony's friend, and he just did it.
So this is a sympathy podcast.
No, but like he just did it, and now I'm like, I'm gonna do it better.
Yeah, so we just did Anthony.
Right. And he was chewing gum the whole time. He was talking a little slang. He was slouching in his chair. And then I'm going to show him how a podcast should be done.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, I picked up all his bad habits as we were recording. My like the way I talk changed, the way I was sitting changed. I was about to ask for a piece of gum, I guess. But like that happens and we bring that out in each other. So, but he did great. He did great. Yeah. And I can't wait for everyone to see that one, which when this one comes out, they would have already had the opportunity to see that. So, but thank you for being here.
Thanks
and I
for
like
having
your shirt,
me.
by the way.
Thank you.
I like how colorful.
I had to wear something colorful, but I am wearing black, which is very rare.
Really?
Yes.
Why so?
I do not wear black ever. I actually vowed this whole year every day to wear color and no black. Not like just black. So, I don't know. I guess I already went back on my what I was going to do.
Well, you look really nice. I like
Thank
it.
you.
I like the color pop of the shirt.
Thank you.
I want to give a little bit of background of like kind of where you came from just to get to where we are now in case anybody that doesn't know you has a better understanding. So where did you grow up?
I grew up near Princeton, New Jersey.
Okay.
Small town. Like New York City was like the city to us. Like how people around here view Philly. Like New York City. I was always in New York City. My dad worked in New York City. I used to go to work with him. He worked in one of the World Trade Centers.
Really?
And I just grew up like New Jersey, New York City girl.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. I see that. I get it. And you were an only child?
I was an only child. I don't know if you can tell.
I can't. I don't know.
I don't like to share. I don't share well. But yeah, I was an only child. A lot of family vacations were like, Sammy, you can bring a friend if you want. So I always wanted a sibling.
And if you wanted a sibling, would it have been a brother or sister? Oh.
If I had a sibling, I would have loved a sister because obviously I have a lot of friends that have sisters and they're very close. So I would have loved to have a sister. I have a sister-in-law though, so that's close enough.
There you go.
But yeah, growing up without a sibling was kind of sad. I mean, I had a great childhood, even though I don't remember half of it. I was just telling you before, I don't remember things from my childhood. It's very weird.
And there's no reason for it necessarily.
No,
it's just
Anthony can recall like an outfit he wore to the Dare Dance. I have no clue what I even did last week.
No, he is like
so
that.
His memory is so good and mine is so bad. Like I don't know who my friends were when I was like 10 years old. I couldn't tell you one thing I did. I know that my parents were great parents and I know they took me to Ocean City every summer, but I don't remember anything else that we did.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Did you like, were you cheerleader? Did you like involved in other activities in
sports.
School? No sports, nothing.
My mom took me to a soccer field when I was 4 years old to play soccer, and she thought the coach provided the cleats. Like she was like, "Oh, I thought that you provided that," and she's like, "Come on, we're leaving." Like that was it for sports for me. Never did sports. I did ice skating. I was an ice skater. My dad took me every Saturday, early in the morning, ice skating. And that career ended when I broke my chin open and I was like terrified to go back. I fell. But I did that for years, like over 5 or 6 years.
Did you like it?
Like I thought I was Nancy Kerrigan and I thought I was going to be in the Olympics. Like that was my dream as a child. And I was always in painting classes. So I was like the artsy fartsy kid.
Okay.
I did a lot of like, I was doing like nude figure drawing and my friends were like, playing field hockey. I was friends with all athletes. And then I would get upset because they always had like team dinners that I wasn't invited to. And I was always like, can't I be like the mascot or something? Like, I didn't want to play the sport, but I wanted to hang out with the athletes.
Yeah.
Because all of my friends were athletes and I was painting and ice skating.
All right, that's interesting. But so you had that artistic thing
Always.
when you were a kid.
I was
that was
always
just natural
artistic.
for you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I see that. I get it, and it makes a lot of sense. And in school, like high school, let's say, like what were you like in high school? Other than were you introverted, extroverted?
I would say I was extremely extroverted.
Okay.
You know the senior superlatives in the yearbook?
Yep.
I was the class clown.
Oh, okay.
I dressed every day in high school like I was going to a fashion show. I was fully dressed in like pencil skirts and knee-high boots while like my athlete friends were wearing sweat clothes. So I thought high school was a fashion show. I did very minimal work. I'm actually not too sure how I got into college, to be honest with you. I didn't have the best grades, which I'll never tell my children or show them this podcast.
I do the same thing. My wife's like, don't you tell them how you did in school.
I don't know how I made
good.
it through. I was not the best student, but I was creative and I was artsy. And I think the only reason I got into college is because of my portfolio.
So
I didn't have the best grades, and I basically like begged them to like let me in because you have to be interviewed for the Drexel fashion design program.
Okay.
We like had an interview, and I think we like begged them to let me in. I think my dad like wrote a letter. He was like, please let her in. I took classes at FIT, so I had like a whole portfolio of like fashion sketches, and I was good. I was pretty good. I just didn't have the best grades, but I was smart because I got a really good SAT score.
Okay.
So my parents were like, all right, so you're not stupid. You just are lazy.
Or it could be like, I call myself smart, but I'm smart in certain things, but I have to be into it. Like if I'm super into something, you can't stop me from learning it. But like that traditional like way of learning in school.
No, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
School wasn't for me.
Yeah, me neither.
Even going to college, I was there for fun. I was at college to meet my husband and have a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know if I even learned anything. I'm sorry if my parents are watching this because they sent me there for 4 years. Actually 5. I graduated late. Well, Drexel's a 5-year program.
Okay, yeah.
So actually mine might have been more like 5.5 years.
Okay.
But I don't really know what
you
came
wanted
from
to go
it.
to college? Like you wanted to?
Oh, yeah.
Or was it, okay,
no,
you wanted to go because
ready
the
to
fun.
party.
You were like, you were into that aspect.
No, I was like, as
it
soon
wasn't
as
your mom and dad
my
begging
parents
you.
dropped me off day one. I was like ready to party.
And Drexel because...
It was close enough. Like I didn't want to go like a plane ride away. A lot of my friends from high school dispersed like California, just plane rides away. I didn't want to go. I was the only child. I was really close with my parents. I didn't want to go that far. And my parents, I think, didn't even let me apply anywhere that far because they were like, just no, you're not, I'm not visiting you. This was like after 9/11. And like, they didn't want me going far. So we settled on New York or Philly. I only applied to Drexel and FIT. And if I went to FIT, I would have had to get an apartment. There was no student housing left for me. And my mom was like, absolutely not. You're not living in Manhattan as an 18-year-old by yourself, not knowing anyone. And I was like, I need more of I wanted more of like a campus. So it was either Drexel or FIT. That's why I was begging to get in or else I probably would have gone to like community college for a year and reapplied if I didn't get in.
Wow. So only 2 schools. And maybe part of it too is...
Actually, that's a lie. I also applied to University of Delaware and I got rejected.
That's all right. Worked out for the best.
It worked out.
Like you said, you met Anthony.
I went to meet Anthony. It was
what was supposed to happen.
That was what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So we joke. I always tell my parents, like, thanks for the college education. Like, all I got out of it was a husband, but that's all I needed.
That's all you needed. Yeah, right. There you go. Hey.
And Anthony was, like, straight A, summa cum laude, however you say it. Like, he did not miss a class. And I was, like, the bad girl. Like, come on, skip class with me. We'll go eat or get Chinese food. Like, I would beg him to skip. And he would not skip a class. He got straight A's, 4.0. I think I got a 2.6. And I was like so happy with that. Like I didn't even go to graduation.
Really?
Nope. I took the degree in the mail. I'm surprised my parents didn't force me to go to graduation. Like We just sent you to college for 4 years.
All that money, we can't even get a picture of you in it.
Exactly.
Like,
and I do, I honestly do think about it, and I regret not going to like actually get it. It's funny because last year Anthony was like, "Did you really actually get the degree?" And I was like second guessing, like, "Oh my God, what if I didn't graduate? What if they sent me something but it wasn't like actually
wasn't official?
The diploma."
We forgot about it.
He like got me thinking about it, but it doesn't matter now because I obviously didn't use my degree. I started in fashion design, and then I switched to design and merchandising after I learned that I couldn't sew for the life of me. And that's where I ended with design and merchandising, and then I did nothing with it.
So did you do during school? Did you work anywhere? Did you have a job
I worked at a bar during college.
Okay.
Because I ran up a Discover card bill. You know, they get you outside of the cafeteria. They target young girls like, "Hey, you want a credit card?" I was like, "Yeah, I want a credit card." I went to Saks on City Line Ave with that credit card, and I bought a purse. And I decided, like, I don't have to pay for this. It's on a credit card. I was young and dumb. And I just rang up the card. And years later, my parents got a call from somebody at Discover. And they were, or like 2 years later, and they were like, "Is this your daughter? Like, she has I didn't even know they were allowed to like call your parents, like figure out like your home address." I remember my mom calling me, and she was like, "You're gonna get a job, and I'm gonna pay this bill off, and you're gonna repay us every dime." And you know, when you spend $600, it's now $2,000.
Sure. Yeah. Wow.
So I got a job at Buffalo Billiards in Old City at a bar, and I paid her back within like a couple months. And then I loved the job, so I kept the job, and a couple of my friends worked there. So my mom made me pay her back every dime of that Discover card.
That was a good mom move. Teach you some responsibility.
Yep. And I worked at the bar. Sometimes Anthony would come in there at like 2 a.m. looking for me. Well, that's like a story for later.
Yeah. Well, I do want to get into that, is how you met. Cause so we have his version of how the whole thing went down, of how you guys met. And I want your take on it from your perspective. So let's just get right into that now and get it out there. Like, how did that happen?
I think I met him like on the fraternity house steps. I think I was just walking by, and he like catcalled me, and he had a Nextel, a blowout, a baby blue jumpsuit on. I'm like, who is this guy? I was not instantly like, oh, like in love. I thought he was like weird. And then he always talked about Norristown and like where he was from. He was obsessed with Norristown and his like friends. I'm like, why don't you just go back there if you're so obsessed with it? And then we started hanging out. We were just friends. We had the same group of friends. And then we ended up dating like later that summer of my freshman year. I went to a 50 Cent concert, and he was doing work because he had summer classes, because Drexel, you go all the way through. And I was like probably drunk, and I called him. I was like, "Can I sleep over? I was at a concert. I need to sleep over." And like, I don't know, I guess one thing led to another. We started dating, and then we dated for, I think, about a year, and he broke up with me.
Why?
It broke my heart. I was actually, sorry, Anthony, I'm going to put you on blast, but I was in the hospital. I had some weird intestine like infection. I've had very weird things. And I had this weird intestinal infection. I was literally hospitalized for days. And he wanted to go to nights in Venice, in Ocean City. And I was ruining that plan because I was in the hospital, and I wanted him to stay with me. And my mom was in the room with me. And he basically called me and was like, "I can't have a girlfriend anymore. Like, I need to just be on my own. I want to do things like, you know, just go to night in Venice." And I was like, I went crazy, like in the hospital room, like screaming at him. My mom had to close the hospital room door because I was like cursing him out. I was screaming. I was like, you know, "You asshole, like I'm in the hospital. You should want to stay with me." So he literally dumped me in the hospital. And I got out of the hospital. I obviously made a full recovery. And I was going back to school 2 months later, and I was like, "You're going to regret this." And I got like a new boyfriend right away when I got back to school.
Was it like a spiteful boyfriend? Like, oh, I want to show him? Or was it like...
Kind of, but I also like kind of liked the guy. We ended up dating for like over a year. And Anthony saw me at a bar like the first week of school and was like, shit, I really fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he did that whole song and dance, like the I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I was like, that's, you know, he wanted to like have fun with his Norristown friends in the summer and go to the shore with his friends. And then I knew he was going to regret that. So we just stayed friends and we didn't date again until I was, I don't know, 27 years old.
Interesting.
Or 26, something around there. So we had like a good 7-year break between dating and
Is that long?
getting back together. I had like 3 other boyfriends in that time, like over a year long. I don't think he had any girlfriends.
He's waiting for you to come back.
I think he was just waiting around.
Yeah, maybe it's just like so him and I talked about this on our thing, and it, you know, my wife and I got together way later, like after high school, and we were so tight before, and I sometimes think I'm like, that's what's supposed to happen, because if that didn't happen, like
if we dated all the way through, we would have never stayed together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I had to do what I did, and
you had to
get
that
it
out.
all out.
Yeah.
But
so
the minute that he decided, like, okay, I want to be back with her, he had it like made up in his mind. He drove down to the city. I had a place at 6th and Pine, literally picked me up, took me to dinner, and told me, like, we are getting back together. And I didn't even say no. I was like, okay. Like, went to work the next day, like, I have a boyfriend, guys. And everyone's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I have a boyfriend. My ex-boyfriend. We're back together. And that was it.
He said the same thing to his friends. He's like, they didn't even know. I just was like,
I just like knew. I was like, all right. I'm like, I don't know. I guess at that age, I was like 25 or 26. And I was like, this is it. Like, we're going to get back together. Probably going to get married. I was ready to like settle down, I guess. And that was it. I moved into his house in Norristown like 2 months later.
That's so funny. So it went quick.
And we were engaged by November. Yeah. So not even a year had passed and we were engaged.
It all makes sense because, again, you guys got that out. And
as soon as we were back together, it was like I was just like obsessed with him. Like, I needed to spend every minute with him.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm not going to even do real estate anymore. Like, I basically like left my job because you cannot work in the city and live in the suburbs if you do real estate.
It's rough.
Like, people want to see houses and they want to see them, like, you know, in 10 minutes. It's impossible to do both. Like, to live in the suburbs 40 minutes away from where you're working when you're showing homes, because that's what I was doing when we got back together. I was doing real estate.
For like, so did you start, you got done school, you graduated, but you were living in Philly after school?
So after I graduated, I did move home for a year.
Okay. And then so you went into being a realtor.
So after college, I started working for an architect, interior design firm.
Okay, that came first.
And I worked there for about a year and a half, and I was making like entry level salary, paying my rent in the city. Like, I had no money for extras. Like, I was paying rent and bills and, you know, food, and that was it. And I was like, oh my God, I need to make more money. Like, I always was like, how am I going to make more money? And I saw people doing real estate and making like 5 times what I was making. And I was like, I'm just going to get my real estate license. So I just studied for the test, took the test, passed, went on a real estate team, a really great real estate team, successful in Center City. And that was it. I was like, I have to figure out how to make more money. So I got my real estate license. And once that got going, like, I was very happy. And then when I started dating Anthony, obviously, like, I told him, you know, what I was making, and he was thrilled because, you know, he didn't want to have to pay the bills on his own. And then after we got back together, I quit.
That was it. Like, so it wasn't.
If I'm moving to Norristown, like, I'm not being a realtor in Center City.
Yeah, I mean that's. I built houses in Philly for a long time, driving back and forth, and it depletes the crap out of you.
Yeah, he probably was like so disappointed when he realized that I was like had this good job, and then I was like, nah, I'm done. Yeah.
I mean, was real estate, was it like I wanted to make more money and I like real estate, or was it just the idea of it was more attractive? Like, it was just like, I guess I'll do this.
I honestly thought being a realtor would be like easy money.
A lot of people do.
Right. And
It's
I
like
know that the
legit
realtors
hustle.
work hard and they work weekends and nights, but like
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't going to be my life later on. Like I knew I wanted a family.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to work weekends and nights, so probably being a realtor was not for me, but it was good for my that age and for the time being. I was making great money when, I was just paying rent and bills and all of a sudden I had extra money to buy clothes and
a good
going out
feeling.
more.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good
it was
feeling.
great.
Yeah.
I felt like very independent. My parents, I wasn't not reliant on my parents whatsoever. And Anthony was thrilled because I was like contributing. And then all of a sudden I was just like, I'm done doing this. And we got married and like I got pregnant like shortly after we got married. So I didn't go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, well, I don't want to do nothing. Like I'm not ready to just be like a complete stay-at-home mom. So I actually started an Etsy shop because I loved making things.
Is it after you had your first?
No.
It was before you had your.
I didn't even know he was a boy yet.
Okay.
And I was like manifesting a baby girl because I was making baby girl shoes that looked like little baby Louboutins with the crystals. And I was like getting carpal tunnel every day, making all of these crystal baby shoes. And I had a full Etsy shop that was like very profitable for a side hustle. And I knew I was having a baby and I was just going to do that on the side. And my mom would come when like, the baby would be up and I needed to get orders out. She would like watch the baby and I would make shoes. This is what I did for 2 years. And then when I had my second baby, the week that I had Louie, Coco, Ice-T's wife, had bought a pair or got a pair, I don't know, or asked me for a pair. She posted a picture of them and I had so many orders from that. Like I had just had a baby and I got home from the hospital and had like 150 orders to do.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So I completed all those orders, but after I was done, I was like, Aunt, I think I'm over this. My fingers hurt. I'm done with the bedazzling. I hung up the Etsy shop. I closed it and that was it. So it was like a good 2-year run. And then I was really just like full-time mom of 2 under 2.
Okay.
There was no time for baby shoes or doing anything.
So your boys are how, like they're 9?
They're 15 months apart.
Okay, so yeah, it's close. It was boom boom.
Yeah, it was basically like I had a newborn and Gino had just learned to walk. So I was still just like carting around 2 babies. Yeah. And I was just like being a mom and I was very happy with that. Anthony worked all the time, Saturdays, till late. Sometimes he would miss bedtime. And I was really, my parents lived in New Jersey. I didn't really have like, I would say that much help. Like never had like a babysitter, always just was me with the boys and I would leave the house every day with them. Like I was always at Target. We did a million things and I don't regret that time. But after a few years of that, I hate to say like over it. Like I need to go like do something and be more fulfilled. I just felt like I don't want my only purpose in life to be a mom. Like I love being a mom, but sure. I wanted them to go to daycare.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So I put them both. So basically when Louie was 2, I had to have a major operation and basically it would have been my mom taking care of both kids, which wasn't going to happen. So I was like, I'll put them both in daycare so you don't have to watch them for 6 weeks. I couldn't lift anything or do anything for 6 weeks. And Anthony obviously wasn't like quitting his job. So when Louie was 2 and Gino was 3, they both started school or daycare, I should say. And that's during my recovery of this, I had a random like sporadic tumor that had to get removed. And during my recovery, Anthony kind of like came upstairs one day and was like, what's your plan? Like, cause he knew he knew I wasn't going to pull them out after I was recovered. Like, are you going to make money? Are you going to do anything now? And he was like, you got to do something. And I was like, let me think about it. And I just like thought about it. And I always loved interior design. We built our house 7 years ago. And I mean, I basically designed the home and picked everything. And I was like, I really want to do design. And that week I just went like 0 to 100. I was getting business cards made. I was getting a website made. I was acting like I have done design work for 15 years. And honestly, it's just like fake it till you make it. I just got like a few clients off of like social media when I had like 3,000 followers, like some virtual design jobs. And I just started posting pictures of like before and afters. And then I just started getting jobs naturally. And I really loved it. Like I was, eventually I went into like doing, new construction homes, which I love doing. But, I did that for 5 years and the kids were in school. And last year I just decided, I think it was now like a year and change. I said, I think I'm done doing this. Like, I feel like I always get to a point where I like decide like I'm done with something.
Yeah.
I was like losing sleep. And Anthony always wants to be the one that's like losing sleep over jobs, not me. Like he doesn't want me to.
So he went from wanting you to do something but saw that you were now stressed.
And I loved it, but I was bringing the stress home. Yeah. And it was like, Anthony has a high pressure stress job, and he was like, the two of us both having that
is a bad
no
situation.
Good. And he was like, I take the stress on for this family. I don't want you feeling like, like you're not sleeping at night because you're thinking about a job. So I was like, the social media thing was like getting bigger for me, and I really fell in love with Christmas decor from like a hobby. And I was like, I think I'm done with helping clients. Like, I'll still do it for me. Like, I wanted to refinish my basement, and I wanted to redo things at our house. Just, my taste changed the last 7 years when we first built the house. And I was like, I want to get things done at our house. Our house has been on the back burner because I help everybody else. I also don't know how to say no. So, like, when somebody says, like, I really want to redo this, can you help me? I'm like, okay. I don't even think about it. I just say, okay. And I knew that I wasn't going to get anything done at our house if I was still working like full-time design. So I just told him, I was like, I think I'm done. And that was it. I had 2 big jobs that were wrapping up the same month last September, maybe. I don't know. I can't even decide. Have I been done for a year or longer?
I don't know. You'd know better than me. But then again, you say your memory isn't that great.
I know. My memory's not good, but I've been done over a year.
I want to just pack something up for once, because you said so many really important things there. You may not realize it, because before we started, I mentioned the word entrepreneur, and you were like, I don't think of myself as an entrepreneur, but you are 1,000%. And the more you talk, the more I realize, oh, she is so an entrepreneur, because you have those symptoms that we all, like, I struggle with too. You start like 25 different businesses, you go all in, and then you're like to the point where you're like crawling to bed at night, you're stressed out, you're tired, and then you're like, I think I need to do something else. Yeah. The other thing you talk about, which is depleting, is the interior design. My guess, because I struggle with this, is when you're working for people and you said, I can't say no, which is very depleting, right?
Especially when you know them.
Yeah, right. You want to like fulfill, right? Your obligation to them, but that it is like a major responsibility when you take it super serious, like you, because you're very creative and you want to do like a really great product, and that can drain the shit out of you.
The littlest decision I would not sleep over. And at one point, I had so many jobs going on at one time because I wasn't saying no, that I was doing like 3 major renovations, a new construction, a little bathroom job. Like, I had taken on so much at once that then I started making mistakes that were costing me money.
Which is a typical.
And I was like 1,000 here, 1,000 here. And I was like, I'm never taking on this much at once. Like, this is crazy. I still have to be a mom and a wife, and I still have a house to take care of, and I'm over here trying to be like, designer of the year. It was way too much for me. Yeah. And props to those who have families and do this, because I couldn't handle it.
I mean, I can understand you because you're meticulous and you don't want to make mistakes and all that, and then losing money obviously comes next. But were the people... Did you find it hard? You're doing more higher end design stuff. Was the people tough to like depleting you as well? Like, was that wearing you out? That like customer communication and back and forth?
Honestly, I didn't have too many problems with clients, aside from I didn't know when to stop with the texting at night. So especially if you know me, it's easy to just text somebody on the weekends and at nighttime, and it's like I didn't put the phone down. I was on my phone constantly, answering questions, looking up materials, answering emails. And sometimes a client would write you like a book and want an answer like by the next morning, especially if it was something urgent or pressing and I felt like I had to answer. So I was on my phone a lot at night, and like Anthony would get almost like mad, like, get off your phone. And I was like, oh, how does it feel? Because you're always on your phone.
I know.
So it was just like two parents being on their phone all the time. Like stuff was slipping at school, like, with the kids. And I was like, this is not, like, we can't do this. Only one of us can be like engulfed in work. And that's going to be you.
Because running a family it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, especially as the kids start to get older.
And I've done it all. I did the stay-at-home mom. I did the working mom, and I could tell you stay-at-home mom is just as hard, if not harder, than working.
Absolutely.
So I was just ready to be like a better mom. And I was like, I'm hanging up the tape measure.
Yeah.
And I was done with it. I just reached a point, and I'm not, people ask like, will you ever go back to it? Maybe when my kids are older. Right now, I just feel like they're in
go back to interior design.
Maybe.
You're talking about, okay,
yeah, like
because you have a passion for it. You're good at it. You really
I love
enjoy
doing it. Like I just did my house. We just redid a lot of stuff at our house, and if I was working how I was working, I would have never had the time to do what I just did. Like we just did like 7 things at the house. And I would have just kept putting it off because I was busy.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed to get my house in order to feel better and more organized. Like we were just so disorganized, like the garage, the basement, everything was in disarray. And at the same time of doing the design and COVID was going on, I was leaving my Christmas tree up, and then never thought that would turn into a business. It was just fun for me to decorate everything. And that snowballed, but...
So, I mean, we're definitely going to talk about that because that's your main deal. Is the
for
Christmas
now,
tree?
We'll see what I
well
do.
for now.
5 years from now, I could be a doctor. Like I don't.
Well,
know
the
what's
trajectory of your
happen.
conversation, I'm like, there's been a lot of things, so God only knows what you're going to do next, which is really cool. And again, that's a typical entrepreneur.
I'm like, maybe I should be a nurse.
Oh, geez, wow, we're like a major lesson.
Wasn't good at school, so we're not ever going to be in the medical field, but.
So COVID happened. It was a Christmas. You had your tree up, and then
it was a COVID Christmas. I had a real lame Christmas tree. We used to get real trees.
Okay.
We used to get real trees, and I had my silver and white balls on them, and I thought I was so, like, I thought that Christmas was so good. Like, I remember taking a picture of it, and like,
you're proud.
I was so proud of it, and like when I look back on it now, I'm like, oh my God, that was so bad.
We all start somewhere. And I'm sure it wasn't bad. But
it wasn't bad. It was just boring.
Okay.
It was like silver and white.
Nothing about you is boring, so it makes sense that you're like, yeah, I got to step my game.
And we always had a real tree because Anthony believed in like the tradition of going and getting the real tree from the same place every year. And I was like, he would when Christmas was over and it was undecorated, he would pick the tree up, get pine needles everywhere. They were in every crevice of the floor and moldings. Like I couldn't take it. He would open the back door and he would throw the tree in the backyard outside, like to rot. And we had literally, before somebody built a house behind us, we had like 4 years of Christmas trees lined up back there.
Oh my gosh.
Like he would just throw it outside. And I was like, I want to get a fake tree. Like I'm over this real tree thing. They don't even hold a lot of decorations. It starts dying halfway through. We're forgetting to water it. So I bought a fake tree and I realized, oh, this fake tree could hold way more decorations than a real tree. And then one year I was looking on Instagram and there was a woman who had her like a Valentine's Day tree. And I was like, I'm going to do a Valentine's Day tree. I don't feel like taking this down. I'm going to add hearts to it. And I made a Valentine's Day tree. And then people really liked it. And they were like, why don't you do St. Patrick's Day? You can keep it up longer. And it just snowballed. But it went into every holiday that year. So it was like, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July. Like it just snowballed into the whole year. But I was also buying like very reasonable decorations the first year. I wasn't going to like a trade show to get them. I wasn't buying wholesale. I was buying from Hobby Lobby and Michael's and maybe some places online, but I definitely wasn't going crazy. I was being reasonable with it. I also wasn't sure what I was doing. Like I was doing interior design. I wasn't trying to be a Christmas decorator.
This was just something you started doing.
This was just a hobby, and I was like, oh, this is fun. But I feel like people on social media really liked it, and I was like, I got to keep it going. And I was like, I always felt like I had to top the last thing I did. Mm-hmm. So it was like, what theme can I do? And so much is available when you start applying for, all these wholesale companies. It's endless what you can do. And around the second year was the time that like a pastel Christmas tree was becoming a trend. And I was like, I'm going to do a Candyland tree. And I think that's where it started, when I realized like how much attention just a stupid Candyland Christmas tree got, that I was like, I could make a business out of this. People started asking me like, can you do one in my house? And I would say no. I always said no. I never said yes to that. I was like, no, this is just for fun.
Like family and friends asking you to do it? Or,
no, like
or random people on social media?
Strangers on social media asking me if I could put one up in their house. And I was like, I was doing interior design. Like this was a hobby, and I would say no. And then the following year, it wasn't until the following year that somebody asked me to do one in their house, and I said, okay. And I realized like, damn, I could like make some money doing this in November, December. So I took on more jobs. I had no clue what I was doing. Like nobody taught me this. I just started buying a shitload of ornaments and ribbon and learning all the companies that were the best in the Christmas world, and, watching some YouTubes or tutorials. And like, I really just like taught myself how to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And I started buying like crazier and crazier things, and it just really snowballed into what's the craziest theme, what's the biggest thing I could stick on a Christmas tree. And, I guess it was like 3 years ago that it really became a business, and the social media started growing from it. And I loved it. And I guess last year I was, after some of the jobs I got, I was like, why am I even doing interior design anymore? I can just work, November, December, be way less stressed because I'm not working with a couple for a year.
Right.
I'm literally going in your house for a day.
Yeah, models.
Decorating and leaving.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I'm going to make Christmas my business, because, billions are spent on Christmas every year.
Yeah, it caught on.
Yeah, but I didn't want to be just any other Christmas decorator. Like whenever I do something, I always want to do it like, how can I do it the best and the biggest? So I was like, I want to do commercial things. I want to do it for celebrities. Like, I don't want to just go in your house and put up like a little red and green tree. Like, I want to do an outrageous theme. I want to do like the crazy stuff.
So I hope people are listening to everything you're saying, because you said so much stuff in there. And again, you might not realize it. I realize it because I hear it and it's all highlighted for me. You wanted to be different. You wanted to be bold. You kept saying, oh, I got to top the next thing. These little things. It's
like I was in a competition with myself.
With yourself, though. You weren't trying to compete with some. Well, I don't know how many other people decorate Christmas trees.
There are a lot of Christmas
there might
decorators.
be. I mean,
I think they don't do. I think the themes over the years have gotten so crazy that now a lot of decorators are doing like, Candyland and all these themes. But most people want something simple.
Right.
But I was doing a lot of like getting custom pieces made. Like I did a tree for Vera Wang for Pride, and like there was a lot of custom.
And this all comes from just you posting on social media and people seeing it.
I was going to a Sixers game, and I kept getting a missed call on Instagram from a random number from some guy on Instagram, and I'm like, is this? Like I was trying to get ready. The kids are like yelling, like Anthony's yelling, like let's go. And it was 3 days before Easter. And I had all my Easter stuff up, already posted, and I decorated the whole house for Easter. At this point, I moved from 1 to like 3 theme trees. And finally, I answer one of the phone calls, and I'm almost like, doing like the hello, like what? Like who's bothering me? And it was somebody that works for Vera Wang, her CFO or CEO. And I was like, and he said, I know Easter's like, this is a really big ask, but is there any way you could put up an Easter tree at Vera Wang's house before Easter? And I'm like, what? Like Easter's in 3 days. And at this point, it was Thursday night at 7:00. I'm leaving for a Sixers game, and Easter's Sunday, which means I obviously wasn't going the next day, but I knew I had like 24 hours to figure it out without any hesitation. I said yes.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not going to do this.
All right. Amen to that.
When Vera Wang asks for something, you're doing it.
Amazing opportunity is never convenient. Right. So it's like a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm not ready yet. Listen, these things randomly pop up and you have to know when to pounce. No. Even if you're not ready, I want to figure it out.
I took every decoration off my tree when I got home from the Sixers game. I went through all my bins, pulled all the stuff that, she had communicated to this guy, Keith, who then called me exactly the color she liked and what she wanted, curated the whole thing the next day, got a U-Haul, got my mom to come with me to help. Aunt had the kids. Like I was doing this no matter what.
Stuff. That's great.
I did it the day before Easter. I did it on Saturday. Went into New York City with a U-Haul. Had never driven a U-Haul. Had no clue what I was walking into, and I had no choice. I had to do it.
You had to do it.
Say no to Vera Wang.
No, you don't say no.
No.
And other people might have saw, oh, she did this for Vera Wang. Oh, that must be. Not thinking no, she was put on the spot. She wasn't prepared at all. She figured it out, getting a U-Haul, getting in there, just making shit happen.
24 hours. I even had to get building insurance. And it was Good Friday. Try getting building insurance for New York City on Good Friday when everybody's off. Luckily, one of our good friends is our insurance agent and made it happen because I couldn't go to her building without insurance. And it had to be specific, for New York City.
Yeah.
So I got a policy that day to do that. So, yeah. And after I left there, I'm like, if I could do this,
Brian, is that?
Yeah.
Brian Gillette. I'm gonna give a shout out to Brian Gillette because he does all my real estate stuff, all my builds. He's awesome, and he gets stuff he operates like
texted
me.
Him,
dude.
On Good Friday. I don't even think he was working.
He gets it done. Yep. He's the man. So let's
shout
take
out
a second
Brian
to promote him because he does a great job.
I was like, I need building insurance, doing a tree at Vera Wang's, and it was like
the second you said that, I was like, that had to be Brian because he's one of the only guys I know that just jumps on stuff like that.
Right.
So all right, cool. Just want to make sure didn't miss an opportunity to promote someone who hustles.
Yeah.
All right, so you did that for Vera Wang, and how did that, was you happy the way everything turned out?
I just have one funny thing to say. So I'm still in communication with Keith, who works for Vera Wang, and she still has the Easter tree in her home. She had compared it to a Jeff Koons, which is a famous artist. She loves her Easter tree. I believe it's still up.
Oh my God.
And this was 2 Easters ago.
So cool.
So after Easter, he contacted me again and said she's doing a photo shoot for Pride. We would love a Pride tree. And of course, without hesitation, I was like, okay. Now I had way longer to prepare for that. But I had custom pieces made from girls who, make these giant custom paper mache, hand painted pieces of art. So there's a lot, I make a lot of stuff. I made some hand painted ornaments for this tree, but there's more people that, I buy things from that do some of these jobs kind of with me. Mm-hmm. It's not just me. It's, these artists who make stuff. When I did a tree for FAO Schwarz, I had a woman in Canada make me these incredible pieces. For that. So it's not just me who's putting it together. There's other people involved. I'm putting it together, but they're making the products.
That's what successful people do. They find people that are really good at what they do and they bring it in.
Right now I have such a good tribe of women who all have small businesses that are making the things that I need to do my job successfully.
Yeah.
So
it's important to recognize
if it's something I need custom, I know exactly who to call.
That's great. That's look, for a very specific kind of niche that you have, very quickly you establish a team, how you wanted to do it and all that, which is really, really impressive. And then obviously the growth of it in just a couple of years is it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
I get nervous though last year I was nervous around this time because I haven't booked. I've maybe 2 things booked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is anyone going to book? I just got a whole website done. And I'm like, is anyone going on it to inquire?
It's coming. It's just because of the time of year.
Because people in June are not thinking about Christmas.
No, they're not.
But I remember
You are,
last
because it's
year
your
being-
business.
right?
That's why
but
you're
I'm
worried
like
about it.
pushing it on
Yeah.
Instagram, like please reach out if you're thinking about a tree, because there's only so many jobs I can do the
That's
month
true.
of
Because
November.
then you'll get all the calls, and then
It's-
you're like, now I can't even fulfill
Right.
all
I had to
this.
turn things down because so many things last year were last minute and I can't get the material.
Right.
So like now is the time. So
So anyone listening,
now is
Or-
the time.
order your
All
tree
you need
now.
to do is pay a deposit. You don't have to pay it in full.
Order your tree
But I
now.
can't order the materials like November 20th for a December 1st install. So, last year I remember this feeling of like, I'm probably not even going to get any jobs this year. Like this was like a stupid idea. I'll just go back to being a hobby for me. And I basically just wasted like 20 grand on buying ornaments. And this was so stupid. And then September, October came and I was like,
yeah.
too many things.
That's business, by the way. Like, right. So like it's
But
like
it's hard because it's like, it's only October. I mean, it's only like people don't want it up in October. I would, but people want it like the week before Thanksgiving until, 2 weeks before Christmas. So there's only like a month and there's only 24 hours in a day and I have to sleep and be a mom and a wife. So there's only so many jobs I can do, especially if they're in New York, or I had people wanting me to travel like to Atlanta or Texas or California. And at that time, I wasn't a very good flyer. I hate flying. I've recently overcome that. So I'm ready to fly for the right job. But last year, I turned a lot down that could have been amazing opportunities. But I just...
If they come back up again, I'm sure they will. Would you start to consider doing that?
This year, I'll do anything.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not flying to Australia. Somebody did make a website inquiry last month about Australia. And
Really?
I was like, I'm not going to Australia to do a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
You would have to pay me a lot of money to fly to Australia. But, I would go to Atlanta, Texas, California. Like, I'm ready to do that. I feel like I got held back last year by my fear of flying, which I didn't always have just since I had kids. And this year I already went on 2 plane rides and I feel like ready to get back on the plane.
Like, you're not
so
afraid to try to overcome your fears, though. So you may be scared of something.
I took some
but
Ativan, but I got
that's okay.
through. And I made Anthony fly me to Atlanta.
I remember him telling me that.
Yeah.
He was supposed to do something for me, and he's like, I'm flying to Atlanta, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, he came back the next day, and I came home on my own.
Yeah.
By myself.
Okay.
With drugs. But I did it. And then we went to Disney World 2 months later with the kids, and I did that. And I realized, like, I was fine. And I was like, I can't believe I've been letting this hold me back. Because now if I'm flying, like, endless possibilities. Because
I mean, come on.
California is really where it's at.
I would imagine. And then once you start doing that, we're going to need a private jet for you at some point.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because I could see a lot of people wanting you to come to their house, to be a part of it, to orchestrate it.
I mean, people would ask, like, about California. And I'm like, maybe I could ship something. And I'm like, no, that's...
but they want you, and they want, like, the whole feel.
You have to do it in person, especially if you're doing, like, a 9, 10, or 12-foot Christmas tree.
I guess you
can ship a small tree.
A big question that I had was, like, how do you... And a lot of people struggle with this. I've struggled with this, is when you are really kind of the talent, right? And everybody likes this stuff, but it's because you did it.
Right.
How do you scale that? Because you're one person, right?
So
now you got stuff all over the place.
People have asked me, like, why don't you hire somebody? Because they're not me.
Yeah.
No one's going to put it together exactly like how I would. And I'm so meticulous and anal, I probably wouldn't even like it. I would see somebody do it and I'd be like, I would have done it better. And I never want to disappoint the client. That would be like having somebody, when I did interior design, pick the tiles for me.
Right.
Like, I need to be the one to curate the tree, design it, buy the items, unpack them, sort them, make sure I have all the correct materials for the job, get them on the tree so they're not falling off or hanging down, do the ribbon perfectly. Like, no one is me.
Yeah.
So it has to be me. Now, I do have a helper who has watched me do so many trees that I know, like, if something happened to me, she would be able to probably do it probably just as good as I can do it. But, I don't want to put that on somebody.
Yeah.
Like, people are spending a lot of money on these Christmas trees and they are paying for me to do it, not somebody else.
I agree so much.
I don't want to scale this. I want it to be...
You love the customization
a one-man
of it
show,
being that. Okay.
Custom Christmas tree.
Interesting.
Any idea, nothing is too crazy for me. Like, the crazier, the better.
Yeah.
I did have somebody last year ask me, they said they wanted a 24-foot tree. I was like, that's bigger than the King of Prussia mall tree. I'm not doing that.
That's a big
I'm not risking
tree.
my life to do a Christmas tree. I would need a lift. I would need like 4 people. That would take me days. Like,
Life.
I'm not risking my life. So no
Yeah.
24-foot requests. 12 feet and
That's
under.
tall. We have a 14-some foot tree
Yeah.
here at our house,
That's
and
plenty
I had to
big.
go buy like a big ladder that we just have so my wife
Right.
can decorate the tree. It was funny as last year I was like, why don't you just ask Sam to do our tree, because this
Yeah.
is turned into a project.
I like a good 10-footer.
Yeah. Okay.
That's about as high as I like. Now I'll do a 12, but like anything past that, like I'm gonna need insurance. If I fall off the ladder, I don't want to have a problem at your house.
Yeah.
I just like, and also it gets to be expensive. Like
Yeah.
you want a 24-foot Candyland tree, you are spending a lot of
Like,
money.
give a gauge just so like anyone.
A 24-foot tree. Think about how high it's higher than your house, and the base is so wide because a 24-foot tree has, could have a 16-foot base. It's 20-foot base. It would be insane. The amount of products and my time and the people and the special lift, like the equipment just to do it. I mean, you're talking, I don't know. You're talking at least $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
The material alone would be $25,000 to $30,000 on it to get it fully decorated. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about some commercial size big balls, like random balls. I'm talking about fully packed the way I do it.
The way you would do a tree
Right.
that size, not like your traditional mall tree you would see.
Right.
with
The mall trees have
red and
like
gold
the scattered balls.
Yeah.
That I could do.
Yeah.
I could do a mall tree
Yeah.
like that. But if you want like ribbon throughout a 24-foot tree, do you know how many spools of ribbon I would need to do that, and the amount of
No,
helpers
I don't,
to hand me
but-
things? And yeah, it would be impossible to honestly even gauge because I've never done it. I would have to just multiply like
T&M because
I would have to over order because
Yeah.
I would be nervous to run out, and just the equipment rental.
Yeah.
Equipment rental, a lift for 3 days could be $2,500.
Absolutely.
So I think, when I give quotes to people, some people never respond, which I know they're a little like shocked by the price sometimes of how much it is, and that's okay with me. Like that's like an artist when you make a painting and you're charging, $8,000.
Yeah.
Like I'm not forcing you to buy it. I'm giving
Yeah.
you the price.
You
This is
asked,
how
there
much
it
I
is.
am.
There's nothing wrong
It's
with
not
that.
just the material. Some of these materials, one cake slice could be $350.
right.
And you're talking a 10-foot tree with 6 of them on it. So
Yeah.
like sometimes people get the price and they're like, oh, they're polite and, I didn't realize how much it would be. And, thank you anyway. And that's fine. I give people a very rough estimate if they just like send me a DM, because I'm not going to waste my time writing up like a formal estimate
I don't blame
if
you.
they're not serious. So I tell them a ballpark range.
Sure.
And I know the people that are serious, when some people say I have no budget. So I like those people.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm going to give you,
And it's not
the
even
best
about
Christmas
it's not
tree.
even about you taking advantage. It's just that like, oh, I can do a really good job.
Right.
Like it's not even about
and
like,
I
the
have
money
broken down
necessarily.
before on Instagram, which I think it was good to show people like my Candyland tree that I did a couple of years ago that I think really like made my Instagram take off with the Christmas stuff was this Candyland tree. And, it had like 7 million views or something like that. And people were writing me constantly, like, how much would this be? Do you sell the ornaments? How much would this tree be? I live in, Atlanta, or I live in Texas. Can you ship me everything? I once made a story and I broke down exactly what that tree would cost you for me to do. So it took me, let's say all day to do that tree. It was 10 feet. The tree itself was $2,000, just the actual base. So you have to have a good base to start. Like I'm not
anything.
doing some shitty Walmart like tree where you see all the holes. Like has to be a very good brand faux tree. And a 10-foot tree lit is like $1,500 to $2,500. So you're talking just if you don't have the tree already, that is an expense in that. And then once you add in the theme of Candyland, and I added up everything that was on that tree, and without my cost of doing it, it was $9,000 or $10,000.
Yeah, who would have thought? Like, but it makes
And
sense.
I'm going to charge at least like, $150 a foot to come put it together. So
Yeah.
you're talking another, let's say at least 12 to 1,500 just for my fee, which I have to order everything. I have to unwrap everything and take the tags off. I have to sort it. I have to, do the ribbon. I have to lug it all to your house. Sometimes I'm traveling, a couple hours. So it's like only one job is getting done that day, and put it all together. Yeah. And I've had a couple people have me come back and take it all apart because they don't know how to, undo things without ruining them. That's
a good point too.
I tell somebody a 10-foot fully packed, like in my style, Candyland tree, you're spending $10,000.
Yeah.
And I know to some people that's outrageous, but you own all the items when I'm done.
Oh, okay.
You own it
You're
all.
buying them for them.
Yeah, I'm not taking them back. It's not a rental.
I see.
People have asked me if I've done a rental before. I did it for 2 people.
Okay.
I would say you're still paying, money because a lot of money because I have to sometimes order all that stuff. I don't just have it on hand. Now, right now, I have a lot of stuff on hand because I went a little crazy last year. I thought a lot of people were going to want a Candyland tree, so I bought so much Candyland theme. And my basement right now looks like an oversized dessert display.
Like a giant
so
birthday
hopefully
cake.
Somebody books a pastel Candyland, or I need to sell this stuff and get rid of it. Because I have so much of it.
So you predicted why did you predict that? Just because it's been so popular?
Well, that theme that year on Instagram, people were like going nuts over it. Like I would die for this tree. I want this tree. I don't think they realized how much it would cost. But I was like, oh, I bet you a lot of people next Christmas are going to book this theme. Like I better get a lot of it because it sells out quickly. These big handmade pieces. And I bought so much. Like I spent many, many thousands.
Yeah.
And I think only 2 people last year did Candyland, and a lot of the trees I did last year were red and green Candyland, not pastel. So I'm left with piles of ice cream cones, cake slices, macaroons. I have so much pastel Candyland. So hopefully this year I get a big Candyland job, but I'm not purchasing any more candy.
Yeah. Well, so I think
that trend is also honestly phasing out.
Well, the word trend is something that's like a big thing. Right. I would imagine. So just like clothing or whatever else, right? Yeah. The theme of a tree, what's going on, what happened that year, whatever you want to call it. But like, you kind of have to predict, like, what do you think people are going to want this year?
When I went to market this year, because you go to market in January in Atlanta and you buy for, Christmas just ended 2 weeks ago. And here I am buying all of this stuff for next Christmas. How do I know what's going to be in? The Christmas companies that have the showrooms at the trade center, they're predicting the themes because that's what the designers are buying.
Is that what like made you want to go to this convention? Was like the thought of like, all right,
I wanted to go last year, but I didn't want to fly. And I was like, I am going this year. I am looking at all this in person because I was buying just off of, online catalog.
Sure.
And it looks so much different in person.
Okay.
And I knew the ideas would be flowing in my head way better
when you're in that environment.
When I went, like that was heaven for me.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't have to pay for it that day. So you know how that goes. Like when you make an order, you'll take everything. I went crazy.
Order. Yeah, yep. Sure.
So, I spent about $18,000 and none of that is for somebody else. That's literally on 6 themes that are all going in my own home.
Okay.
So you figure about an average of $3,000 a tree on materials, wholesale, for my house. And that's basically like my marketing. So if you think about it, like I spent $18,000 on marketing. And the following year, if somebody wants one of those tree designs, I've already purchased the materials and I'm, making my money back and it'll be worth it. So like if this year somebody wants to book something, it's probably based off of a design they saw in my house last year, like my hot pink, like Barbie room. I did a Barbie theme, so somebody might want that. So it's like I already have a lot of the materials because I'm obviously not reusing them. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing another hot pink tree. I know the themes every year are going to be different. And I don't know how many years I'm going to be able to just blow like this amount of money on my own home's decor, because I think a lot of people think that I'm reselling the items, but like everything from last year is still in my basement.
I was going to ask you, like, do you resell when...
I did a couple of times. Okay. Like I sold like all my Grinch stuff, and I have this teal and purple peacock theme that I did last year that I said I was going to sell, like, when It's funny. I put it up for sale in like March, and I'm like, no one's gonna buy this in March. No one's thinking about Christmas. But like, come November 1st, I bet I could sell that like in a day, and box it all up and send it. It's like that theme was done already. I'm not doing the same theme again, and like all the themes that I'm doing now are new themes. So the only thing different about this year, and last year, is I did a collaboration with this girl Christina, and she owns a business, a beaded bag business called Island to East Side. And she approached me on Instagram and was like, we should do a collab together. And I was like, okay. I looked at her website. I'm like, she does beaded bags. Like maybe she wants to do a Christmas bag or a Christmas tote. Like that would be cute. And I was like, well, what about stockings? And she already had a beaded stocking, but it was, a simple beaded stocking in a solid color that just said like, the Ricciolis. And I'm like, no, like crazy theme stockings to go with my crazy themes. Because that is what is lacking in the market is skirts, street skirts, and stockings that go with these themes. And other people are buying them because they're for sale. But there's no, like, everyone has stockings on the mantle next to their tree. And nothing was matching these crazy Christmas decor pieces. So we got together. We met. It was like July or August. It was like right before Christmas. And we came up with like, we thought we were going to do like 3 stockings, and it ended up being, I think, 30 or 40. We took every theme that I had already bought, like for the Christmas coming, and we designed a collection of stockings and a tree skirt for each collection. And we were like, we're going to have a photo shoot at my house with the 2 of us and all the stockings showing each theme with how I styled the stockings. And this collab became more of like I would say, little extra business together. It wasn't exactly a collab.
Okay, it turned into
something a little more. I mean, we went to market together in January to literally select the themes for Christmas 24. And we sat in the hotel room at night every night, and we designed the stockings and tree skirts that were going with what I just purchased.
Okay.
So we designed Christmas 24 in January, and we had the whole line like sampled, and we're currently in the act of selling them wholesale to people right now, to companies. We did a collab with Queen of Sparkles, which is like a brand, my favorite brand, a clothing brand. And I was like, why don't we take the best selling Queen of Sparkles designs and put them on a stocking, and people will buy them. And it worked. And so now we're doing another collab with them this year. Like they're at Dallas Market with the stocking samples. So like, Christina and I became very good friends, and this is more of like a business than just a little collab. This went like way past a normal collab.
Yeah, but this is like, I really can appreciate what you're saying right now, because a lot of people come up with a good product, and then a lot of times to like you have a main product, right? And people catch attention. That's great, but like you have to continuously be innovative. So. Right. Maybe you weren't thinking about, maybe you were, but like now you found another product that you can sell with your other product that goes together. I have another
product.
Oh,
I don't know if
it's up to you. It's up to you. I'm not going to make.
We have another product that we're coming out with, and I feel like it's going to be a home run. Like I'm just always thinking about what is like lacking in the market. We just did for I had a 40th birthday party. I of course was going to have a 40th birthday tree, because I always have a tree up. And I called her one day, and I'm like, I really want these like neon ombre beaded tassels. I saw these beads in this store, and I think it would look so good as an ornament. I mean, 3 weeks later, they were getting made.
Wow.
Like Christina has the factory. We designed them together, very particular. Cool. Like,
and you didn't know her.
No.
She reached out to you, and then you just were like maybe there's something there. I'll hear what she has to say.
One of my best friends now. We talk
That's
daily.
Amazing. Cool. Wow.
I mean, we're like so passionate
similar
about the Christmas stuff, and she's an extremely creative person, and she's an entrepreneur. She started her business like I think 6 years ago, and she's successful in the bag business. She does a lot of bridal. And I was like, the Christmas stuff could be just another avenue for you. And like, we just created a great like friendship and partnership through it. And with with my Christmas following and her just ability to literally get shit done, like I dream of it in my head, and she's getting it manufactured.
That is awesome.
So so we're on year 2 of this collab that we're doing. And, we'll see where it goes. We did it so early this year. Like, how could it not be a success? Last year, we were shipping stockings still like end of November. This year, we're just so early with it because you have to be literally a year ahead in Christmas.
Yeah,
for the trade show.
I'm trends, right? Like design, anything like that. And I can imagine how hard that is. I mean, with home building, and I'm always trying to do that myself.
Yeah,
and it can be scary because like I might start building a house a year, like the one I built in Ocean City recently. It took about a year, and I always think, what if this isn't in? Like by the time I go put this fixture up, like it might be out. Like I struggle with that all the time.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine in your business it's the same thing.
Well, and it's like I hope, like I already picked all my Christmas themes. So I picked 6 themes in my house. Last year I did 9 at my house. It was a lot. This year I'm doing 6 themes. So we have all the stockings already made and designed and the skirts and these themes. I feel like last year the themes were still kind of like normal, like semi-normal. I wouldn't say normal because not a lot of people are having an upside down rainbow tree. But this year they are very wacky. Like I wanted to really, I don't expect people to book, one of these themes next year. I'm doing it more for like the wow factor.
Yeah.
Like to do something crazy. I've never seen any of what I'm doing done for this Christmas.
Okay, cool.
Like I've seen people do a Barbie tree. I've seen people do, a rainbow tree. I've never seen the themes. I think I made up these themes in my head and went to market and curated. We have inspo boards. Like every time I saw an ornament in my head, like we would take a picture of it and I would buy from 12 different places and we put a whole board together to see what it's going to look like. And we did that, every night in the hotel. And I was like, these are the trees. So everything is purchased already. It's just a matter of unpacking it now when it comes this summer and putting it together. Because last year we did the photo shoot end of October. This year we're aiming for like the first week of October. So my entire house will be Christmas decorated in September.
Wow.
And the materials are all coming July and August. Yeah. So it's like starting soon. So it's basically going to be Christmas in September at my house.
So it's so funny though, because like a lot of times when you're in a certain business, your family can't, or they're in it too, because like you're always decorating your house, you're doing this stuff. And like, I mean, your boys are young now and I guess they'll always be used to it, but like Anthony's got to be okay with it, which he is. But
right. Well, Anthony saw the money that could be made for Christmas and was like, be my guest.
He's got the Christmas music on in July.
He actually, two Christmases ago, I had like 8 Christmas trees up at the house and he had the nerve to say, the house just doesn't feel that festive to me. I was like, festive? Who do you know with 8 themed Christmas trees throughout the house? And the porch, the mantle, like everything, every room was decorated. And he had the nerve to tell me it didn't feel festive. So I was like, I'll show you festive. Like, last year I did even crazier decorations. Like, don't tell me my house doesn't look festive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he fully supports this. He thinks it's great. The kids ignore it. Like, they're so used to decorations. They could care less about the stuff. I had, they have 9-foot Christmas trees in their room. Like, they don't have miniature trees. They have full-size trees in their room. They're like having a pillow fight. They're wrecking it. I said, next year, no Christmas tree for you. So this year I'm like, because last year I had 9 themes and this year it's 6. It's because I'm eliminating the kids' rooms. Okay. They're not getting Christmas trees this year. Sorry, kids.
That's okay.
The amount of money that's getting spent to do it, it's like, I did a Philadelphia sports one in, one of the kids' rooms and, he loved it. But like after a day, they're over it. Yeah. And they're like wrecking it.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants a Philly sports tree, I have all the materials.
So the other thing I wanted to mention, which is so cool because my wife, she showed me you did, is you raised a bunch of money for, it was Children's Hospital, wasn't it? For donating the Christmas trees. So
this would be the 4th year I do that. I just had this idea one day, like, I don't even know how it started, but I was like, I want to make sure like the kids that are in the hospital have Christmas trees in their room.
Such a great idea.
And the first year I did it, like I had no clue what I was doing. I don't have like a, what's the nonprofit called? 501c or something. I don't have one of those. I literally put up my Venmo and I was like, if anybody wants to donate to this, I'll be screenshotting my Venmo for the next 72 hours. And I'm going to buy as many Christmas tree, tabletop trees, like 2-footers, they're going to go to kids in the hospital that have to spend Christmas in the hospital. And within 48 hours, I had over $4,000 from random strangers, a lot of people that I do know, but random strangers. And the hospital was so appreciative of the donation. I went to Hobby Lobby. I bought all the ornaments. I had, people help me bag them. So like each kid got a tree, a bag of ornaments and hooks, and the parents, put it together. And I took it to CHOP, and they were so appreciative. And I was like, next year, I'm going to do this for 2 hospitals. And last year I was like, we're doing 3 hospitals. And this year, I'll do 4 hospitals. Like I hope it gets bigger and bigger every year, or I hope a company like
are you
reaches
promoting
out to me.
for help, like so for other people?
I hope somebody sponsors this or says like, we'll give you, a $5,000 Hobby Lobby gift card to do this. No, I do work with a company called Vickerman who did offer me an extremely generous discount last year on a lot of these hospital trees. So I will be doing that again, hopefully. But so many people want to help. Like, I just couldn't believe the amount of people just like giving money, like $50, $100 is, more than just, and I had said no donation is too small. If you could afford $1, anything, if I had 10,000 people donate $1, I mean, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
So I was just grateful to get that much, money. And obviously, I think one of the hospitals had asked for like an additional 25 trees, and I was like totally willing to throw up my own money for that. And, I had my neighbors that have kids, like everyone came over and we sorted the ornaments, because just the ornament sorting is, it's a lot. You're bagging up, 300 Christmas trees worth of 20 ornaments and 20 hooks, and that takes a while. And then the transporting. So like I have an Escalade right now, and I realized that I can fit 100 Christmas trees in the Escalade. So I can do 3 trips for the tree donation. So they literally just fit. I can't see, but they all fit like perfectly with the seats down and nothing in the car and totally packed. They fit.
Wow.
So last year I delivered them, to each hospital. St. Christopher's was a big one that we did with Kelly's kids, and I was doing the tree in the lobby for St. Christopher's. I did that, I think, 2 or 3 Christmases in a row, just so the kids had something to come down to and look at. And like, even when I was decorating it, oh my God, I would get so choked up at like the kids that would come down and get so excited that are literally hooked up to like IV poles, and it just like really tugged at my heart. And I was like, I'm always going to do this. Like, I'm always going to find a way to give back through Christmas. So this is my thing, is the tree donation. And people are, obviously it's not just me, it's hundreds of people are donating to this cause. So there's a company, Decorators Warehouse in Texas, that donates all of the decorations. And I now, so it's a tree raffle. So I put together a tree in like, beginning of October, and I take a video of it. I put it on Instagram, and I say, everything on this tree from Decorators Warehouse is being raffled off. So like every $20 is, let's say, a raffle ticket. Okay. And I keep track of every single donation. So if you give $100, you're buying 5 raffle tickets to win this whole tree. Not the actual tree, but every piece of decoration on it is getting boxed up and mailed. One year I had a girl donate everything back to the hospital, which is like amazing, because she didn't even want it. She just wanted the hospital to have it. And that went to, I think, Sloan Kettering in New York puts on a very big Christmas display for kids every year, and that got donated there.
Wow.
Last year, the woman who won, I think her son had cancer, or they spent a lot of holidays in the hospital. I forget the story, but everybody that has won the past few years, it's been like a very meaningful, whoever won, it was like meant like for them to win.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to do this year's.
So like, do you like, if people want to help, now you're talking about this, and I heard you did it, but I didn't realize how into it you were, and it's amazing, and I applaud you for that. This is awesome. I love everything you're saying, and I know we would love to help. So like, will you post about this for people that, how can
so
people
like
help
anybody that's followed me for a few years, like knows that I do this like, early in the season, because obviously I want them to get, everything early. But I'll hoard all the trees and ornaments, because the hospitals generally don't want it before like December 10th. So
Okay.
I buy it all very early. So I'll have everything in like October, and I'll just keep it in my house in the garage or something until it's ready to get distributed. And, I show everybody that's donating like how much is in my Venmo like every 4 hours because, I don't have a 501c and I don't want people to think I'm like doing anything shady. But I feel like my following like trusts me and knows that this is like what I've been doing. So maybe somebody new would question, but everyone that's donated has been like so great about it and always like offering, like sending me. I saw Target has them on sale this week. Like if you wanted to get them from Target, people are always trying to help me with this. Maybe next year I need just like a U-Haul or something to just do it all in one shot.
Yeah.
Because everything's in Philly.
I guess,
And I'm like
you
going
take
back
you take
and
our
forth.
box van. I have a
Yeah.
box van. You can put it all in.
So I'm very excited to do this again. I'm always going to do this if I can, as long as it's expensive. It's over $5,000-$6,000 to get all of the trees and all of the ornaments. And if I've already promised the hospitals this, and if people don't donate, like I'm going to cover the difference. Like I'm not going to say I'm donating something and then not do it. So like I'm not going to let them down. I'll reach out to businesses. I'll get people to
There's no
somehow
doubt.
do it.
People
So
are
I'll
gonna
figure
step
it out.
up.
I figure everything else.
I don't doubt
I'll
it.
figure it out. I'll make Anthony do it.
So anybody that wants to help, they're gonna follow you, Sam, and you're gonna be posting about it. And sometime in October. Okay, cool.
And I always show like the previous years. So I'll show like last year's raffle, and this was the winner, and this was how I drew the winner, like with one of those free spinny wheel contest winners. And I'll video that so like people see how I'm selecting the winner. It's like nobody that I know. And I'll show the previous year's designs. I try to do something different. Like last year I did a more traditional Nutcracker theme. And sometimes I take a poll and I'll say like, which theme do you want this year? And whichever, has the most votes, I'll reach out to Decorators Warehouse, and they're kind enough to donate all of this stuff to, for this cause. So I couldn't do it without them.
Sure.
But I have fun doing it every year, and everybody, it's like a cool way to give back through what I like doing. Which is Christmas.
And there's a lot of ways for people could do that through their business, and it's something probably more people should think about.
And when
doing.
I get like a message from a mom whose son or daughter is in the hospital, and they're like, I follow you, and my daughter received one of your tree, like I love doing it.
There's no check in the world coming to you that would give you that feeling that is going to give you.
That is what I like, is
no doubt
seeing that they're actually going to kids that so appreciate it. Some of the, one of these hospitals is, very low income. Some of the people that are there, and they don't even like have a Christmas tree at their house. So like to them, this is like making their Christmas, just getting a little Christmas tree to set up in the room. And the parents are so appreciative. And I mean, they have so many events for the kids during Christmas, but like, they get to pick out toys at the toy drive. And this just kind of like makes it a little more special, having their own little light up Christmas tree. Some of them are on batteries, depending on the hospital's preference, plug in or battery. But I try to accommodate like, the hospital rules. Some don't want the plug in, some want battery only. So I figure it out.
Yeah,
there's companies that have battery pack.
That's a lot of work that goes into you wanting to do this.
Yeah.
This isn't just like, hey, let's
and it's
do
funny
some
because
trees.
last year FedEx came with the delivery, and they had to scan individually each box. The guy was there for like 2 hours scanning. And then I think he missed one and had to like go back and figure out which one he missed. Oh my God, it was horrible. So needless to say, I tip FedEx every year because they're delivering all of these trees. And I know it's a lot of work getting them unloaded. Sure. And I'm always like, can you bring them in my garage with me? Like, I don't want them sitting outside in the rain. So it's definitely like a project in itself, just ordering all the trees, organizing them when they get delivered, getting all the ornaments, bagging the hooks, delivering everything, packing the car.
Yeah,
but
it is a lot of work, but it's fulfilling, and it's a lot of work whether you're doing it for actual business, for someone paying customer, or because you're doing it for this reason of you're donating. But to go back for a second, what you're talking about, like people being surprised by what you charge, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about like we always feel the need to justify why we have to charge something, but it's like as long as you know and you believe in the product that you're putting out, you shouldn't have to justify the amount of work that goes in. There's a reason why it's so great.
Right.
You know?
If you want a cheaper tree, go to Michael's or Hobby
Yeah,
Lobby
yeah.
and buy
It's like you almost have to be like unapologetic about it. Like
I am.
Like, you know, and
I used to feel like I had to justify.
I know.
Now I'm
I
like,
get it.
this is the price.
I get it. Totally get it.
And there are people that pay it.
A lot of businesses struggle. We struggle with it too. Like, you know, we a lot of stuff we do is higher end stuff, and it's not just the product itself, it's the amount of work behind the scenes that go into doing it.
Right.
And when I have to sit there and
I
line
search
them
for
out,
things on the computer for
it's
days sometimes to
it's
find
endless sometimes.
all the decorations.
Yeah.
And then just when it comes unbagging and untagging everything and sorting and then putting it in the bags to transport, like, you know, there's a lot that goes on that I don't think people realize, like the hours that are spent besides me just showing up with the bag of decor.
Absolutely. No, it really is. It's sometimes, you know, people might consider it a premium, but at the end of the day, like usually you get what you pay for.
Right.
You know, and if you want something nice, typically it's how it goes.
Yeah. It costs
right?
money to have nice things.
Yeah, it does. It does.
When you put out content
this
that is controversial or that you know people are gonna consumerism at its finest.
Yeah.
That's the latest one. It's like I'm purposely going to put out content to piss people off.
Yeah.
I don't care. It benefits me. Like the more people hate something, the more attention it gets and the better the views are. And then maybe that's how certain people are finding me, because it's on, you know, in the popular page because it's something that had a lot of views. Like this stupid epoxy garage floor that I did, that I put rainbow glitter in, and I didn't consult my husband, and people are writing like, I can't believe you would put rainbow glitter in your floor without telling your husband. And I'm like, it's just a freaking garage. Who cares? And people were like bashing me and writing horrible things. But I'm like, wow, the more I like prank my husband and do like outrageous things, the better it does. So I'm just going to keep doing that. And I love the people that like respond to the hate comments for me, and I read them, and it's my entertainment. Like the more I was telling her, like the more the content that people can't stand is like, you know, like I did this epoxy glitter garage floor, and I of course told Anthony that I am going to make it sparkly, but he probably thought I meant with maybe some like, you know, silver flakes, something a little normal. And the guy that, you know, we had doing the epoxy floor, like right before he started, I was like, I'm going to run out to Michael's real quick. Like, I want rainbow glitter. And I bought like every rainbow glitter product that they had. And I was like, I'm going to film this. And I wasn't even going to post it. I was going to maybe just like post it as a story, like me sprinkling rainbow glitter. And I was like, I'm going to film this whole process of like a before and after of the garage, like pouring the epoxy, adding the glitter, you know, having him call Anthony with like a little prank, like, ooh, dude, the floor is real rainbow. I'm not sure you're going to like this, because to rile him up. Like I was hoping that he would like get really mad, because people love pranks. People love watching before and afters. And I was like, this is going to be a good video. So I remember like filming it. Like I wasn't prepared. I had like my hair in a ponytail. I had exercise clothes on. Like I wasn't even planning that this was going to be like a good video. I just thought it was going to be something kind of silly and people like when I prank, you know, Anthony. And Anthony's response on the video, like, it is what it is. When the painter was like, this is really rainbow. Like I was expecting like a big reaction. He was just like, it is what it is. Like, because he doesn't even care. Like he doesn't care about.
He's probably so used to.
I think he's so used to my antics and like me rainbowing everything that it's just a garage floor.
Yeah.
Like, what are you even doing in the garage? We're doing some cabinets. Like, it's just a garage. Who cares?
Yeah.
So, I was expecting him to be like super mad, and he just didn't care at all. And, you know, I posted that reel, and it has like over 7.5 million views.
Oh my gosh.
Stupid garage floor. But the comments were just people like you should consult your husband when you do design decisions at your house. And
Get me started on these comments.
I would hate, if you lose a screw on that floor, good luck to you. I'm like, why would I have screws on the floor? I'm not a mechanic.
I don't understand.
I'm not doing construction in my garage. I don't even park in the garage. So like the amount of comments that are on there that are negative, and I realize, wow, I just need more videos that are a little controversial or make people get angry. The better the video does. The more hate comments, the better for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, what am I doing next? That people, I'm thinking of my next video of, what's something I can do that people are going to say this is ridiculous. And I'm like, when it comes to the stuff that I put up about my basement, we did our basement renovation, and I have a Christmas storage room that I did in all pink. And obviously that was a little bit of an expensive project, but it's like it's a showcase for my stuff. I didn't want just like wood shelves. I wanted it to be wallpaper and cute light fixtures.
No, it totally makes sense. It's your business. So
right.
Like,
well, that's what it's like building an office.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to build it around, I wanted to look pretty.
Yeah.
I want to film videos down there. And I put up a reel, in the title that's on the face of the reel, it's, my husband gave up half of our basement for Christmas decor. Like that pisses people off. The comments on that are another joy to read. And I'm like, all I need is videos that make people mad. And the better it does, because people really started following me this year after that video.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not,
so I'm like, what else am I going to do with the Christmas stuff and the amount of money spent?
Yeah,
people get mad at their consumerism at its finest. That's like the main comment of that video is like, how could one have this much stuff? This is consumerism. You're disgusting for buying all this. Like, you're what's wrong with the earth. And I'm like, I had to put in the caption, like, okay, this is for my business. I know that a lot of this is mine, but this is also a business. And like, please don't tell me you've never bought anything.
Yeah.
First of all, it's not even that much plastic. A lot of it's paper mache.
Right.
A lot of it's paper mache. All the big candy pieces, they're not plastic. So I'm just like, I used to post just Christmas stuff, and now I've kind of started posting more personal things and DIY and home decor, because I feel like I just want it to be more well-rounded. I don't post my kids that much anymore besides in stories, because, they're getting older, and it's just like they're, not doing as cute stuff as they used to when I had more of a smaller intimate page. Now I'm just like, they're not really on it that much. My son did want Louis, my younger one, a couple months ago. We did a video. There was a trend on Instagram that was, what was that trend? It was called, I'm a blah, blah, blah. Of course I do this. So that was a trend that people were doing with a video. I'm a contractor. Of course I have 5 tape measures in my truck. One of those. Yeah. So Louis said, I really want to do a video on your Instagram, and I want to be famous. And I was like, okay, what video can I make with him that has to do with Christmas, so it somewhat correlates to my stuff? And I was like, why don't we do my mom's a decorator? Of course we have this at our house. So
of course we have 45 trees up in July.
Louis came up with all of the all of the lines. I was just helping him, and I filmed it obviously, but he came up with all the lines that he was going to say, and he was so cute and funny in it. So that type of stuff I want my kids involved on, my Instagram page, but that's about it. Unless it has to do with decor, I don't really post them as much. But he had a very successful reel. I think he has he asked me sometimes how many views do I have? Because they have a little YouTube channel that has 3 subscribers and 10 views, and they thought that was amazing. I was like, Louis, you have 115,000 views. He almost fell over. He was so excited. So, and sometimes we'll go out locally to the grocery store, and somebody will come up to me and be like, I think I follow you, and they'll and my kids are I think it's I don't know if I think it's cool or weird. So last week that happened, and I said are you guys bothered by that? Do you like it? And they're like, yeah, it's cool. I think they like it. So I really try not to involve them though as much in the Instagram stuff, because they're getting older, and they don't want to be on camera. They run away when I'm let's take a picture. Yeah. So they're on it less and less. But on the other hand, Anthony is more willing to be on camera, and he will just do anything. Like, there's nothing off limits for him. He is funny naturally.
Yeah, he doesn't try. That's the thing I hope everybody knows. Anthony's not somebody who's ever trying to be funny. It's just literally who he is.
It's who he is, and he just lets me do anything to him, dress him up as anything. And people like think it's funny. So, of course, like, let's do more videos, because I was trying to think of content.
What was the one where I just
not
watched
just
him
Christmas.
Spray a lampshade?
He was mocking me for my 40th
My wife
birthday.
showed me one of them, and he was like walking around the house. He was being you, yeah.
And he
was
he pretends to be me in the video, and he has this curly, like, brown-haired wig, and he dresses up in my clothes, and he doesn't like talk like a girl. He's just looking very manly with his facial hair in a wig, talking like what I would say. And it was just fun. It's just funny. And I'm like cracking up making the videos, but I don't think he realizes like how funny he is.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to get more videos. We got to do more.
He really doesn't.
Yeah. I need fill-in content between the Christmas stuff. And he was like the perfect.
Yeah, he doesn't even know he's doing it.
No.
I went out to dinner with him one time and Nikki Lenhart, and I was under the table crying. I couldn't even eat my meal because those two got reeling. And it was me, my cousin Joe, and Nick and Aunt, and I was literally pissing myself. Like, it was like, it was a problem. Like, all whole restaurant was looking at us. I'm like, these guys don't even know.
He wears his pants.
They don't even know they're being funny. Like, I couldn't even eat my meal. But yeah, so I know what you're talking about. Like, that's just him. It's what he does, and it's who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just naturally funny, and I'm like, the world needs more Anthony Riccioli.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
But he'll do it. He doesn't fight me on this.
Yeah, he's goes like, for it. Right. My God, my wife can't. She's like, I can't imagine.
People are like, my husband would never do this. So my wife, he could care less.
It's so funny. So like for like, so social, like you mentioned way back. So when you were making the booty shoes, you mentioned posting, and that's how you got, like, people saw, who you said Ice-T's wife was
Ice-T's wife saw them and posted them, and people were tagging me in her post, like, look, Coco posted your shoes. She didn't know that I made them.
Okay.
She just saw them on like Pinterest or something. But people were tagging me, so eventually it connected us, and she messaged me that she wanted a pair. I, of course, gifted them to her. I didn't charge her. And she posted them. She even did like an E! News interview special, and she showed them on E! News. Like, yeah, that was my little like claim to fame 12 years ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
I mean, that's not what I think like catapulted the Instagram. I think it was the Candyland tree maybe 3 years ago.
Okay, so is that the biggest growth you had in followers was when?
Christmas 3 years ago.
Christmas 3 years ago. And like, do you recall like the jump from X to X?
Yeah, like I remember all of a sudden, like I had, 50,000, and then it was like 70,000, and then I remember getting to 100,000, and I was like, wow, this is crazy over this Christmas stuff. And then I don't know, all of a sudden, like I think not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, I remember like that week it was like growing by like 10,000 a week over the Christmas season, and like all of a sudden it was at 140 or something, and I think this past Christmas it went to 160. And then I usually like even out after Christmas, and there's no growth like between January and then like October. But I think this year it even just like 5,000 people grew after Christmas, just with like some Valentine's Day, some Easter, some reels about Anthony, like the garage, the garage floor, the storage room, like the renovations. I think people want to see more than just Christmas.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just trying to like be a little more touching on everything.
They
like
want to know.
They want to
know more about you too. So like they see some stuff you put on.
Yeah, I mean most Christmas decorators just post Christmas, and they drop off Instagram come January, and they don't post. I don't want to be just like a Christmas decorator. I would love to do more fun social media things throughout the year that have to do with home and decor and Christmas decorations. But like I love interior design, so like of course I loved showing like all the renovation projects and the garage and my husband's new office and the basement and the storage room, and we did a portrait of it. Like we did so many things this year. I was like, I could, show all of that. And I think people love to see like before and afters, and people just love to see what you're doing.
They love to see what you're doing, and
they don't even care what you're doing. They just
not
want to see
really.
what you're
Which is
doing.
weird because I'm not the biggest social media person, and not that I'm against it by any means. I'm very into like the power of what it can do. But Lauren's always telling me what you're talking about, and she's right because I'm like, there's so many people that can build a beautiful house, build beautiful kitchens. Like there's millions of people that can do all that. But like what I find is, it's that the personality behind it or the team behind it, people, that's what seems to actually sell.
Yeah, people love like when I just talk organically, just on stories like about my day, or people notice when I'm not on for a few days. Like this week, like I wasn't on for 4 days, and people were like, "Is everything okay?" Like people notice. They just want to see what you're up to. I mean, I know because I have people that I follow,
same thing,
that I check daily. Like, let me see what she's doing today. Like I follow a few people that I'm interested in seeing what they're doing. So
that would be almost actually a good hack, is like, well, who are you following and why are you following them? Maybe you should be doing more of what's catching your attention.
I like
why you're
influencers that aren't just like posting products all day and LTK and links. And that's why like people are like, why don't you just do more like linking? And I'm like, honestly, it's very time consuming and I find it very pushy. And I don't want to be like an influencer that like is just posting products to make money. Like I don't care so much about the money as it's more important to me to be like authentic and like inspiring to people. And I care more about that than like making $400 on Like to Know It selling a shirt that I bought.
I think that social media should be viewed a little more of a long-term play, because there's a lot of short-term, like what you're saying, like a lot of post this, that product or that picture of this.
Instagram goes away in 2 years.
That's what I'm saying.
What are some of these people going to do?
It's a great question. And
because their whole
nobody knows.
Income is based off of social media. Like I know that if Instagram ended tomorrow, like I would still find a way to make money. I'm not basing my life off of Instagram.
Yeah.
I would just have to maybe advertise the Christmas decor or make more connections on LinkedIn. Like I'm not even on LinkedIn.
No, it's a good point you're making. There's some I don't know who she was. It was a business podcast I was watching and they were interviewing her, and she has like 600 some thousand followers. I don't know what her deal was, but she purposefully abandoned Instagram. She built this huge thing and everybody's like, are you crazy? Like she's like, I'm not, like I want to know I can have a business just because of Instagram. She's like, what if Instagram, what you just said, what if it goes away one day?
Yeah, it could.
Like, she's like, I don't care that
TikTok is like TikTok like ending or
they
something.
keep talking about, I
mean, I don't really go on TikTok, but this is what people tell me. Like TikTok is where it's at.
Yeah.
You want to make money.
Lauren's on me all the time.
TikTok.
I don't even have it on my phone, unfortunately.
I don't really go on it to look at stuff, but like this week I was like, I'll just upload like a video here and there, and like no one's watching them.
Yeah.
Like, but it only takes one video.
So true.
And there are people that have become, TikTok famous off of literally one stupid little video that just catches somebody's eye and it goes viral. And that's lately how careers are getting made. And I'm like, you never know what one video is going to take off.
You don't know. I guess I'm curious your take on this, because like a lot of people talk about going viral. You post this, you post that, you hope it goes viral. Would you care more about that, or would you care more about staying true to like your organic content of having truly just repeatedly good content versus like, oh, I finally figured out one way to get that one video to go viral?
Well, even if it goes viral, it's like, then what? How
am
I making money off of the viral video?
My thing.
Yeah, it's cool to be like, I have a viral video, and then what?
Yeah.
Who's paying you?
Yeah.
Unless you're getting paid for real views, which you don't. Like some people, I don't know, some people recently told me that they're getting paid for real views, and I'm like, I'm not. How do I turn on that feature?
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, then I would be putting even way more effort into social media. But I'm not really getting paid in a way. I mean, people do find me through social media. Like I am doing a paid reel next week for a company, and they found me obviously on social media. So I shouldn't say like I don't make money on social media, because I do in that sense through a paid ad. But like I'm not getting paid for a viral video, but you never know who's finding you through the viral video. So
No, and that's why I'm partial to it. I just know, like, again, I don't run our socials. Lauren does, because that's really truly her thing. I'm like late to the game for learning this stuff. Like, she's telling me things.
We're old for this. You know, when you're 40,
well, yeah, but
all these 20-year-old TikTokers,
yeah,
they're
but
taking
part
over.
of, like, you were kind of almost a little ahead of your time, though, if you think about it. The whole posting thing, you were doing this 12 years ago, and in social media lifespan, that's actually like an eternity ago.
I know, and I should have went really hardcore 12 years
Isn't that
ago.
crazy? So just imagine and think about that now. What you maybe should do now that we would. Oh, I wish I would have went harder with
I
this.
know,
That,
but I'm
and
like,
the other
who's gonna
thing.
care about, like, when I'm 50? Like, who's gonna watch me? But
I don't know.
there's somebody for everybody.
They're gonna want to know what you're wearing and what Anthony's doing, and
Yeah, I think people are more.
can his pants get any higher?
A lot of people are on my Instagram to see what Anthony's doing,
Yeah.
not what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's cool though. Again, like, they get to see you, and you know what?
I think people also like how we interact. Like,
yes, that's what I was just gonna say.
we're very, like, natural and say whatever we want to each other. And I used to, like, post a lot of story videos of, like, him, like, arguing with me because I thought it was funny when he would, like, yell at me, and some people did not find it funny. Like, they were like, he is verbally abusive. I'm like, no, this is our love language. Like, sometimes we just say, like, fuck you to each other, and, like, or, like, I hate you, and, like, that's very normal for us. Like, he doesn't mean anything by it. And I found myself, like, justifying, like, his behavior to people. I'm like, all right, maybe we need to cool it on the, like, public fights on Instagram. So, like, some stuff I've dialed back on, but the videos of him mocking me are too good to not post.
They are good.
Like, him in a wig and a dress just turns me on.
Yeah. So you know, you being an entrepreneur, a woman in business, any advice you have for any other, you know, it could be a male, but maybe female, right? Sometimes they can be a little timid. It is like a lot of business has been more male dominant, and that is, like, totally going away. But there could be other females out there, young, that are maybe afraid. They feel like they're not good enough because there might be a girl, or they just don't have the confidence. What advice would you maybe give them to be like, get out of your head with that and do X?
There's not really, like, a single piece of advice I can give except just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You fail, you move on to your next thing.
Yeah.
Like,
which you highlighted.
You get tired of something, go on to the next idea.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already thinking, I literally am already thinking about, like, all right, if Christmas this year doesn't work out, what am I doing next year? What's a product I can invent? Maybe that, you know, if there's a need in the market. Like, I'm already thinking about, if Christmas fails this year, how I'm going to make money next year and what I'm going to do. Or what am I going to do on social media that can make money, and maybe I don't have to do Christmas at all.
Yeah.
You know, so I think lately I'm doing the podcast. I'm literally answering while filming because I know you get upset if I don't answer your phone call. I know. Well, it took a little while to get going. Do you have anything to say? We're rolling now. He says hi. Hold on. You're on speaker. What'd you say?
What's up?
We're wrapping up soon. I have a lot to say. I'm important. I guess I'm more important than you. Your podcast was shorter and mine's longer.
Yeah. Nobody cares that much about you.
All right. I'll see you soon. Love you. Bye. No, so my advice that I would just give to any girl, woman, man, boy is, you know, always have a backup plan. If your current plan doesn't work out, always have the next thing you're going to do lined up. Because that's what I've done the last, I feel like 15, 20 years is like, you know, as soon as I had that job out of college and I was like, I don't want to be somebody's assistant forever, like getting a coat thrown at her, like, go hang this up. Like, you know, I was like, I'm going to get my real estate license. And then, you know, after that, it was the baby shoe business on Etsy and having my own little business. And then it was, you know, the interior design. And now it's the Christmas decor. And I'm like, what's next? Like, there's always got to be a next.
That's a good way to think, and it's a good, it's absolute. So some people will tell you like burn the boats and this and that. And I have that mentality with a lot of things, but it's also good to be smart to realize like that backup plan sometimes gives you the confidence to go all in on the first plan though, because subconsciously you might think like, oh, I can do something else if this doesn't work out.
I'm also very lucky in the sense that I have a husband that like totally believes in any idea I have and is willing to like basically throw money into any idea. Like if I told him I had like
but you don't half-ass what you're going into, and he knows that. That's why he's supporting.
But if
you,
I was like, I have a product that I want to pursue, like I want to make, like he would give me the money tomorrow to be like, make this product.
Yeah.
Like he loves all my ideas, and he's got crazy ideas too.
Yeah.
That he just started a new. I don't even know what he does. He just said he started a new business. Like he has a whole LLC and
we talked all about it. It's a good idea,
that reads
underground utilities and
like he's always got his notepad out. He's always thinking of new businesses and
So we talked about so many awesome things, and I want to wrap it up, but I also want to wrap it up with some fun things. And these could be one word answers. Maybe you want to like take them a little further. They're light in their area, but I think it'll give people a chance to maybe to get to know you even a little bit better.
Okay.
So we'll go with the first one. Do you have a favorite quote? Something that you think about or you like? It's okay if you don't.
This is funny. I actually hate quotes.
Oh my God, how funny. I've never had anybody say it to me before.
I don't do quotes. I don't even know a quote offhand, like memorized. I don't know. Nike, just do it. There's a quote. I know no quotes.
So
I don't know like poems.
Well, I'll quote you right now. I don't like quotes.
There.
Do you have a favorite book?
I haven't read a book since 3rd grade.
I ask because some people think you have to read books and I do believe you should, but if you're not natural, like some people don't learn that way. And that's why I ask, because some people are like, oh yeah, I'm into this one, and other people are like, dude, I've read.
If you asked me the last book I read, I would tell you like R.L. Stein or like Goosebumps. I don't know. I don't read books.
All right, this is a good one. If there's one person, dead or alive, you could spend the day with anybody, all bets are off. Do you have anybody that you would spend an entire day with if you had your way? Like, no limitations. Could be family member, could be a hero, idol, it could be like anyone. And why?
I would love, so my grandfather died when I was 13. And I would spend the day with him because he was in real estate. He was like an entrepreneur. He was a businessman. I would love for him to see like how I turned out and like what I did. I would love to spend the day with him if I had to pick somebody that was dead. Somebody who's alive that I would love to spend the day with.
And be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. So
it's true. I would love to spend the day with Kris Jenner.
Okay.
She's got numerous successful businesses and children, and I don't know how she even has time to sleep, but she gets it done, and she is a businesswoman.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would love to spend the day with her just to see how much she accomplishes in one day.
Yeah, to learn, to figure it out. Like, yeah, I'm sure it is a lot. Good answers. I like both of those answers. So best advice you would give your high school self? Now, going back.
God. My high school self, I think I had lower self-esteem. And I had fun, don't get me wrong, but I think lower self-esteem, probably didn't think I would be doing what I'm doing today. And I would just say like to my younger self, I can't wait to show you in, 20 years. Like what you accomplish. Like I've done some cool things.
Yeah.
And, I have a good family and a husband and healthy kids. And I would just tell myself like, you're in for a good ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great answer. And so I'm going to reverse it. Do you have advice that you would give your future self?
Just keeping confident and authentic and to who you are. And I just can't wait to see when I hate to say this, 60. In 20 years, I'll be 60. And I can't wait to see like what I've done the last 20 years and just pray to God that life is still just as good, if not better.
Yeah. All right. So one last question.
Okay.
You have all these crazy Christmas themes. Are you willing to either give a hint or leak now for what's coming up?
I'll give one hint. My 2 most popular trees that I've ever done are getting combined.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that.
All right. All right. So if you've been following you, probably going to be able to start putting those pieces together.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I'm giving away.
All right. I appreciate anything. That's cool. That's cool. I hate to ask, but I had to ask.
Yeah.
All right. Sam, thank you so much for being here. This was a lot of fun for me. And hopefully, actually, I'm not going to hope. I'm definitely getting you and Anthony back on here together. We'll do like you and him. Maybe I'll bring a guest on with me too, and we'll have some real fun. We'll go even deeper into more personal stuff.
Oh boy.
That'll be fun, right?
Yeah, that would be.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good?
Good.
Did you have
Get
fun?
the footage?
I think so.
Yeah, Anthony's like, what the hell are you doing? He's just jealous that I was here longer.